So this video is going to be introducing simultaneous equations. Now, I will be going through a couple of worded problems on how we can get started on these types of questions and the general concept of going about solving these types of equations. Now, there will be a note sheet in the description below which kind of goes through the general methods of this, and there will be some future videos on some general examples of the types of questions you're likely to get in both classwork, homework and in exams. Now, when we solve equations, we typically have one letter, or what we call one variable, that we need to work out the value of. However, if we have an equation with two letters or two variables, then we need two equations in order to work out their value. So here in the example here in the first one, so let's get a different colour pen. So you can see here that we've got one letter, which is x, and we only need one equation for us to then go on and solve it. In our second example, you can see here we've got two letters, so here we've got an x and a y, and we need two equations, therefore, to work out the values of x and y. So looking at this first example, it says that I visit a coffee shop on two occasions. On one occasion, I buy 2 cups of tea and 3 biscuits, which comes up to a total of £3.85. And on another occasion, I buy 2 cups of tea and 2 biscuits, which come up to a total of £3.40. Now, there's been no change in the prices, and the items were both the same in both visits. And the question is asking us to work out the price of a biscuit and how much is a cup of tea. Now, the first thing we want to do with this particular question is kind of use algebra. Now, in this, it's kind of, rather than writing 2 cups of tea and 2 biscuits, or 3 biscuits I should say, let's get rid of that, and 3 biscuits, and that comes up to a total of £3.85. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use algebra instead. So rather than writing t, I'm going to use the letter t. So I've got 2 times t plus 3 times b, which equals £3.85. Now, again, using the rules of algebra, I can join these two things up. So I've got 2t plus 3b equals 3.85. Now, if I do the same for the second occasion, so I've got 2 cups of tea and 2 biscuits, and that comes up to £3.40, then what I've got is I've got 2t plus 2b equals £3.40. So what I've done is I've kind of translated the situation in the question using algebra. Now, from this, as you can, if we look a bit deeper in terms of what we're actually trying to do, we're trying to find the individual costs of 1 cup of tea and 1 biscuit. Now, looking at this situation that I've got here, now if I look at what's common about the two orders, I can see that on both occasions I've ordered 2 cups of tea. So the only difference is the amount of biscuits that I've bought. So from this, what I can then do is, well, because the cups of tea are the same, it means that the difference in the price must be the difference in the order. So therefore, 1 biscuit must be the difference in price. So if I then go on to take away these two equations, so let me just get rid of this box and get rid of these sort of blue light in here. So here, if I take away the two orders, 2 t's take away 2 t's, gives me no t's. 3 biscuits take away 1 biscuit, 2 biscuits gives me 1 biscuit, and take away the 2 prices, and that comes up to 45 pence. So that means that 1 biscuit equals 45 pence. So then if I take one of the orders, so let's take the first order, I know that 2 cups of tea plus 3 biscuits comes up to £3.85. Now that I know that 1 biscuit costs 45 pence, that 3b is going to be 3 times 0.45, which is going to be, and I can swap that for working that out, so that's going to be £1.35. And then just like solving any normal equation, if I take the £1.35 over to the side, I get 2 t's costs £1.50. Or should I say £2.50 rather. So therefore then, if 2 t's cost £2.50, 1 t equals £1.25. And there are my two answers. So let's have a look at another equation then. A situation rather. So from this, what we can see is that I go shopping for some fruit at my local supermarket. So one day I buy 2 apples and 5 bananas, which comes up to a total of £2.40. On another day I buy 4 apples and 3 bananas, which comes up to a total of £2. What is the price of an apple and a banana? So again, I'm going to go straight into writing this using algebra. So I'm going to take the first situation, which is 2 apples and 5 bananas, and that comes up to a total of £2.40. So I can write that is 2a plus 5b equals £2.40. Then if I take the second situation, which is 4 apples and 3 bananas, that's going to be 4a plus 3b, and that comes up to a total of £2. Now, looking at what I did before, I had the same amount of t's. Now here I haven't got the same number of apples, and I'm not ordering the same amount of bananas, and obviously there is a difference in price. Now what made the previous question a lot easier was when I had the same number of a certain item. So what I can do, and thinking about this, is that's what I want to try and do. So if I take the first order, and let's say I doubled it, so in other words, I multiplied everything by 2, then what I would get is I would get 4 apples and 10 bananas. Now if I'm doubling the order, I need to double the price, would actually come up to £4.80. And so now you can see that using this equation here and this equation here, that I've now got the same number of apples in both orders. So if I just write that a little bit neater, so let's go for this colour here. So here I've got 4 apples and 10 bananas is going to come up to £4.80, and 4 apples and 3 bananas is going to come up to a cost of £2. So now I've got the same number of apples. The difference in the order must reflect the difference in the price. So I've got 4 apples, take away 4 apples leaves me with no apples. 10 bananas, take away 3 bananas gives me 7 bananas. So the difference in the amount of bananas must be the difference in price, which is £2.80. So I know that 7 bananas cost £2.80. So if I divide that by 7, I get to know that 1 banana equals, and it's going to be 40p. Now if I then take the first order, and actually let's take the second order. So if I know that 4 apples and 3 bananas cost £2, well I now know that 3 bananas is going to be £3 times 40p. So I get 4 apples plus £1.20 equals £2. So if I take the £1.20 over to the other side, I get 4 apples equals 80p. So therefore 1 apple is therefore going to cost 20p, and there is my final answer. So here I've worked out that 1 banana costs 40p and 1 apple costs 20p. Now working through this third example, it says that I go to a music and film store on 2 occasions. On one occasion I buy 3 CDs and 2 DVDs, and that comes up to a total of £35.50. So let's first start by converting that into algebra. So I've got 3C plus 2D equals £35.50. It says on the second occasion I buy 2 CDs and I get a refund on 2 DVDs. So here I'm buying 2 CDs and I'm taking away 2 DVDs, and that comes up to a total of £5. Now when we looked at the 2 equations that we did previously, what made sense was, or what was productive, was when I had the same amount of one of the letters. Now in this, I don't have the same number of C's because I've got 3 CDs and 2 CDs. However, I have got the same number of DVDs. Now, if I then go on to take away the 2 equations like I did previously, I've got 3 take away 2, which is 1C. And then I've got 2 minus minus 2, which then becomes positive 4, because a minus and a minus become a positive. Now, that's not something that I had in either of the 2 previous examples, because here, when I did the takeaway, one of the items disappeared, which then enabled me to work out the value of one of the items. And again, same with the first one, when I did the subtraction, the t's disappeared, allowing me to work out what the price of one biscuit was. So going back to this question now, taking away does not work in this situation. However, if I then decided to add the two equations, so here I've got 3c plus 2c, which is 5c. I've got plus 2 plus minus 2, which now disappears, but then I've got £35.50 plus £5 gives me £40.50. And now I know that 5 CDs would cost the equivalent of £40.50. So if I take the 5 over to the other side, so divide by 5, I get that 1 CD equals £8.10. Now, once I've worked out the price of one item, I can then pick one order. So let's go for the top one. So we have 3 CDs plus 2 DVDs, and that came up to a cost of £35.50. Well, I know that one CD costs £8.10, so that's going to be 3 times 8.1, which is going to be £24.30, plus 2 DVDs, and that came up to a total of £35.50. Now, if I take the 24.30 over to the other side, I get an answer of £11.20. And we can just double check that on our calculator, which comes out correct. So then from this, I know that 2 DVDs cost £11.20, so divide that by 2, and I get the answer of that 1 DVD comes up to a cost of £5.60. And there I've got my two answers. Oh, let's try that again. There we go. And there's my second one. Now, there are certain ways in terms of solving simultaneous equations, and it all depends. Now, in each of the 3 examples, I did 3 different things with the equation. So one, I could just work it out, just took away the 2 orders because the letters were the same. Now, whenever you're solving simultaneous equations, you want to get the quantity of one of the letters the same. That should be your main objective. And then once you've done that, it's then a case of following certain rules. Now, in the description below, I have got some notes on this diagram that will enable you to work out and the processes and the methods of working out the values of the letters in a simultaneous equation situation. And like in my next video, what I'll do is I'll go through a series of questions where I'll be referring to this diagram, explaining to you what each of these steps mean for you to work out your final answers. Now, this is one of the topics that is a little bit difficult to get around your head, only because it's not really seen in earlier years of mathematics. But once you've got it and once you've understood the method, there are a lot of steps, but once you've understood it and you know exactly what you're looking for, it does make these questions actually quite nice to do, but obviously easier to solve as well.